Hey guys, I'm Ann and welcome to Share Shed TV. If you've never been to our channel before, we are a channel that teaches you different skills and different trades, and we just want a positive, creative place for you to come and watch. So today I have more freezer meals that I need to make for my family. The past couple of episodes that you've seen, I have been making freezer meals for my family. I started doing this several months ago, and it has been so good for my family that I can just reach into the freezer and get a home-cooked meal that's already made, and I don't even have to think about dinner. Sometimes I don't even think about it until a couple of hours before I know we're supposed to eat, and that's okay. I can defrost things really easy with a low setting on my oven or with a hot water bath, and it works, and then I don't have to stress over dinner. So I pick like 1 or 2 days out of the month, that's right, out of the whole month, to just cook a bunch of stuff, and I stock my whole entire freezer with things, and then I have dinners prepared for a month. So the last couple of episodes we did things like lasagna, chicken pot pie, and other stuff. This time I have kind of an ambitious list that I have to do today, and it's just me. I'm flying solo, so I don't have a partner in crime with me today, but I'm hoping that I can get a lot of this done. I'm gonna do spaghetti meat sauce because my son always loves spaghetti, chicken and dumplings, chicken enchiladas, cilantro rice, Mexican rice. I also went to the grocery store yesterday and I bought a lot of like carrots and celery and strawberries, so I need to like prep those and cut them up into nice bite-sized pieces so that my kids are actually more enticed to be able to eat healthier foods rather than grab the junk that's in the pantry. We have kind of a problem with that. Salad. I bought several heads of romaine lettuce at the store yesterday, and so I want to cut all that up. So everything is easily accessible, and it actually is better on the pocketbook if you just bring it home and cut it yourself. It's only going to take you maybe like 30 minutes to cut all this stuff up, and then you have it costs less than it would be to buy it pre-cut in the grocery store. At least I find that anyway. And then I have cheese. I bought blocks of cheese. I need to shred that. And I have some zucchini that I've been growing in my garden. That's been in the refrigerator. I want to shred that so that I can use that to make things like zucchini bread or pasta dishes that I take the pasta out and use zucchini instead. And then I'm going to plant some seeds. So I have a pretty decent sized container garden in my backyard because I live in the suburbs and we have an HOA deed restricted area, so I can't really put in big beds and things like that. Like, they just don't allow it. And we have a lot of wildlife here: deer, rabbits, gators. We live in Central Florida, and so I've found that container gardening has been a huge asset to us. I have probably about 40 containers, and I do this with my next door neighbor, so which made it a whole lot of fun too. So I'm gonna plant some broccoli and some cucumber seeds, try to get those germinated so that when we harvest some things and we have some available buckets left, that we can go ahead and plant those. So, okay, with all that being said, you're gonna join me today on a lot of cooking, and we're gonna try to get this done. And in between that, try to take my daughter to a swim party and an orthodontist appointment and whatever else comes up in the day. So I'm gonna get to unloading my dishwasher right now and clean this kitchen so that I have a fresh start. So you can hang out with me while I unload my dishwasher. Lucky you. Okay, so I normally don't take you with me to unload my dishwasher, but today I feel like you might motivate me to get it done faster. Usually I grab a kid and I make them do it. So I'm just gonna get this all taken care of today. So then we can just get right to business and get to cooking. I try to keep organized in my kitchen with things, and just because it makes it easier to move about your kitchen when you have some order, but I am definitely not a very anal organized person. I strive to be, just because I know the benefits, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. Goes in there. welcome to my garage. I am gonna pull out some meat that we have today. In my garage we have an extra refrigerator we bought off Craigslist for like $100. And we keep a lot of our extra stuff. I just thought I'd show you. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but this is kind of where I keep all my freezer meals. I have them stacked in glass containers, some in Tupperware. We keep our ice cream out here too, because it makes it a little bit harder for us to get to. But anyway, one of these days I'll get into straightening this up a little bit, but just to kind of show you, this is where I stock all the freezer meals, and I stack them on top of each other. In here, we just keep maybe like beer and wine, and I have bread dough that I keep out here too, and then cakes, because it makes it harder to get to if you have to come into the garage. It's like, how bad do you want that cake? So I've got a whole chicken that has been defrosting in the refrigerator since yesterday. This is gonna go in the Instapot, and I'm gonna use it to pull the meat apart to be able to make a couple of batches of chicken and dumplings to keep in the freezer, because that's my son's favorite. My daughter loves it too, so I have 2 kids. Then, let's see, I also keep like an extra container of milk in the refrigerator too, because we seem to go through that often. So I have one back here. This is like kind of my surplus area, and then one in the house. So I have 2 packages of ground beef here, and then I have, let's see, I have chicken breast under here that I've been having thawed. And so looks like those chicken breast, the packages will maybe split or something. In this freezer is the extra of all only frozen uncooked meat. Seafood, poultry, pork, you name it, it's in there. So anyway, this is just kind of where I keep things, so that I have some order and some separation, so that I know that I can restock and pull from things and whatnot. So it's actually worked like a dream. Be right back. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is dump this ground beef. I've got my pot, Dutch oven pot heating up, and I'm gonna just cut this open and get it going and get it browning really good. So that way we can get the meat sauce taken care of. And because I have the 2 stacked on top of each other, I don't want to really release those right now, because I know that there's like raw chicken juice on the bottom of that other one. Alright, I know I cut you somewhere. Oh, there it is. Alright. Actually, I'm going to take both of these to the sink, so that way I don't get chicken juice on the counter. I was trying to find... This is my new favorite tool for ground beef, because it's like a masher and a separator, and it helps you to not have those big chunks of ground beef. I'm going to fire that a little bit. Like you would if you were just separating it with a spoon. I got this on through Pampered Chef, and so a friend of mine was having a party, and I thought, you know what, I need one of those tools. It's awesome when you can find like a really cool gadget that you just absolutely love. Okay, so now I've got the ground beef going over here, and I'm trying to monitor it as I go. But I've also got the chicken, the hen, in the Instapot right here. Most helpful tool on the planet. I use it so much, I think I'm gonna wear this thing out. So I'm gonna add some seasoning to it, because I want the whole thing to cook down, and I want it to be really tender and fall off the bone. And then after that, we use the carcass to make more broth. I'm a big fan of preserving broth and canning it and saving it, because I used to buy it from the store all the time in the box, and really you don't know what's in that. This is a healthier way of doing it, and it's free. You're getting something out of a chicken that you weren't really even counting on. You can use it to make a soup, or to have a stock, or to use it for any other kind of cooking. You could always use chicken broth for something. So it's a way of really trying to draw out more out of just the one thing. So anyway, I'm gonna add some granulated garlic. And that seemed like I added a lot of garlic. I don't think I intended to add that much, but it'll be fine. Some pepper, black pepper, and let's see, I'm gonna do, I like to just kind of come in my little spice drawer. Sorry, almost forgot what it was called. And just look for things that I think sound good in it. But I know, like, my grandmother always taught me the basics of this was garlic, onion, salt, and pepper. So those seasonings are kind of like the core foundational seasonings that I use in like the majority of my cooking. And these are dehydrated onion flakes. And if you don't have time to chop an onion, or you're out of onions, this is an amazing backup. So I will throw some of this in there. And you just shake it until you make it. I don't know why I said that. Now, all right, let's give my ground beef a stir here. Salt. I just use regular table salt in here, because you want it to have flavor. If you have any kind of like salt restrictions or whatnot from having too much sodium due to health issues, you modify it however you want to. If you don't need salt in there, it is not going to kill the dish if you don't have salt in it. It's just your desired level of saltiness. I'm also trying to drink more water. Let's see if I can finish this by the time this video is done. I'm really terrible about drinking water. Are you bad at drinking water? I need to get better at it. Hydration is a very big deal. Okay, so with this Instant Pot chicken, I keep a Brita filter just kind of like filled at all times on my countertop. So I am gonna fill this puppy up to, I'll let you know how much I'm gonna fill it up to, because I really don't know. I do a lot of things by like measuring from the heart, as you've heard Malia say, or eyeballing it. So it's just about enough. Here, let me show you. It's just about enough to where it comes up to halfway at the top of the bird level. So that's where I would put it, because it's going to produce more broth as it cooks. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get this Instant Pot going and get our chicken started. I'm going to pay attention to this meat, and then I'm going to get my tomato puree out so I can go ahead and start the sauce as soon as this meat is done and get that cooking. And then we'll be on our way and have almost, well, 1.5 things completed. When you're browning beef, you want to make sure that you're getting all the brown, dark brown parts on the bottom of the meat. You want to caramelize that meat. That's where you get the most flavor from browning beef. And if you buy a really lean meat, you're not going to have a lot of fat or drippings in it that you need to drain or strain later on. So the flavor, the most important part to remember is the flavor is in the brown part of the meat. So that's what I'm trying to work on right here. That's what I'm trying to get in this ground beef for my spaghetti sauce, and it is gonna be awesome. Okay, so now the meat is brown and it's cooked off a lot of the fat. It's pretty lean meat too. I think it was like a 90-10 or something like that, which means that there's only 10% of the fat in that ground beef, and it's a really lean ground beef. I actually started purchasing from Butcher Box, which is a link that I got from Becky from Acres Homestead. If you've never watched Becky from Acres Homestead, I totally suggest that you should. She has inspired me to do so much. But she used Butcher Box, so I said, well, I guess I'm going to use Butcher Box too. My next door neighbor uses Butcher Box, and it's grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Which you don't really have to wonder where your beef is coming from. I've never purchased a part of a cow before, but that's something that we've actually considered doing a lot. Anyway, so I've cooked off a lot of the fat here, which some of that will even like come into the sauce. You don't really want a lot of grease in your sauce because it'll float to the top and it'll just make it a really heavy, oily type of sauce, which I think some of that is good, but not really necessarily all of that. So now I have a couple of jars of pureed tomato. I canned this, when did I can this? In March, and it's time for me to start canning again because there is not a whole lot of tomato jars left in my canning closet. So, but if you don't can, which a lot of people don't, just go out and get a large can of pureed tomato. You can just get it by the can. It's totally fine. The next thing that I'm going to use, now this does come from a metal can, is tomato paste. You can make your own tomato paste, but I'm not that ambitious, so maybe I'll get to that eventually. I've always wanted to make ketchup, so and growing some tomatoes this year, so that might happen. I don't know. I'm going to open this, and then I need to get some herbs going here, but I'm going to pour this in the pot first, and we're going to go through the steps of making our own tomato sauce, which is so much better for you. You can control the amount of sugar that's in it, or if you don't want any sugar at all. And then we will put it into little baggies and stick it in the freezer and use it for like 2 to 3 person portions. So that way my kids can eat it if they want to, or I can do 2 bags at a time to make it for 4 of us. So that's kind of the method behind my madness there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open these jars. When you open a can, you want to be careful so you can reuse your lid to use the back end of the pop bottle opener and kind of gently go at each side of it, because once you dent this, you can't reuse it. And really, you're only supposed to reuse these a couple of times anyways. All right, this meat is just cooking lovely. Getting some nice brown bits on the bottom too. Okay, into the pot you go. I'm going to turn this fire down a little bit. I'm going to open up another jar here. Pour that puppy in there. And now we're going to switch to a spoon. Just use a regular metal spoon. I probably need to wear an apron. I don't know how safe it is for anyone to be around me while I'm cooking. I usually splatter the walls with food. Alright, he's quieted down quite a bit. Alright, looking good in here. Got me. Okay. Tomato paste is next. If I don't have to go to the ER by the end of this, I'll be shocked. I won't speak that into existence. Okay. I'm putting all the tomato paste. Some of you might say like, oh, that's a lot, but remember, I'm wanting to really stretch the sauce. And the beautiful thing about tomato paste is it's a concentrate, so it kind of like adds a thickness. If I just had tomato puree in here, it would be like bits of tomato and it would be watery. This kind of like helps to thicken the sauce a little bit, give it more red color, and then when we add the other seasonings and stuff and the salt and the sugar and whatever, then it's, I don't know, it just helps coat the noodles better, and it looks like your typical sauce that you would buy in a jar, except it's homemade. Okay, so now I've got the tomato paste and I have the tomato puree in here, so I'm gonna let those kind of marry. I added probably about 1.5 cups of water in here too. And time to silence my phone. Done. So I'm gonna add, and I added, let's see, I'm gonna add the seasonings now. We've got, I don't like to add whole chunks of garlic to my spaghetti sauce because my kids will detect it. Even minced garlic. I use granulated garlic. And then I also use dried oregano. And I use probably, I don't know, maybe like a tablespoon of that. And then I'm not going to use any onion powder in this, but I am going to use salt because I like to have mine seasoned pretty well, and I probably have to adjust this later. And I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper to this, and I have some fresh basil that I dehydrated in my oven that I grew in my garden, and so I'm going to put a pretty liberal amount in there. Alright, and then I have sugar. It's my Pepe Le Pew sugar thing. Because having a little bit of sugar balances out the acid, and it gives a nice, well-balanced taste to your sauce. So now that I'm going to let this kind of like cook together, I have this like one big chunk of tomato in there. Somehow that will come out. It smells so good in here. Some people put wine in their spaghetti sauce. I have not really been a fan of that with mine. I guess if I was making more of like a bolognese or something, I would do that, but not with this. But now that you can see, this sauce is like, it's become a lot thicker, and it's because of the tomato paste. So the tomato paste is going to keep cooking through like this, and it's all going to come together and be married with the flavors and be delicious. Okay, so what I'm going to make next is a traditional Mexican rice. I had a sister-in-law at one point in time. Unfortunately, she's not my sister-in-law anymore, but she lived at the Texas border. She knew what was up when it came to traditional Mexican rice, and that's like one of my most favorite things. I don't buy it out of the bag because it's just not that good. So I make my own. So what I'm gonna show you step by step how to actually do this, and it's the kind that you would actually get at a Mexican restaurant. So right now I'm gonna add some olive oil to the bottom of my hot skillet. I've already turned it on. Okay, and I just kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like a tablespoon, something like that, tablespoon and a half, just kind of drizzle it until I get a little bit of coating on the bottom. Then I've got some long grain rice. It's just jasmine, regular old rice that you get, white rice. I would not make this with brown rice. It's not going to be the same because of what you put in it, the broth and the tomato paste and different things. It's really, if you're going to go all in with Mexican rice, you might as well just get it done with the white rice. So again, I'm not your girl if you're looking for measurements, exact measurements. So yeah, let's just put the whole thing in there. If I had to guess, it was a cup and a half. But I would actually do 2 cups. I just need to go buy more rice. So, I wonder if this would work. I'm an improviser. I have some extra rice in this bag, and actually this has like a jasmine-y flavor to it, even though that says it's jasmine rice. This is, nope, this is basmati rice, so I'm not gonna put that in there. that's a totally different type of rice. So basmati rice is like a longer grain rice, and then the jasmine rice, which there's one rice with like the hole around it, is a little bit shorter. But it's not sushi rice, which is a short grain rice. So now I'm gonna mix the olive oil and the rice together. And yes, I'm using my same spoon that I used with my spaghetti sauce because it's available. And this is gonna have tomato in it eventually anyway. So what you're gonna do is you're like toasting the rice with the oil. You don't want it swimming in oil. I use olive oil because I like the way that tastes. You don't really taste it at all, honestly, but I would not use vegetable oil. If you're gonna use any kind of oil, I would do olive oil or like an avocado oil that has a higher smoke point. But I just have my pan hot enough, but not like screaming hot, because I'm not looking to like burn the rice whenever it gets in the pan. I want it to turn like a toasty brown, or just so that all the white grains actually get white. So I'm going to turn my spaghetti sauce off because I think that's done and I want it to kind of cool. So while I'm letting that cook, I actually have these chicken breasts that I want to put in some hot water, and I want them to boil because I need shredded chicken breast to do all the things. I have lots of things that I want to make with it, and it's just really convenient to have a lot of shredded chicken. So I'm going to get that going onto this pot back here. Okay, so look at this rice right here. See it? Let's see if I can show it to you without dumping it everywhere. It's got like some brown pieces in it, and the white of the rice is kind of popping out, and I see some toasty brown pieces of rice here. So, which means it's getting about there. What I have to do next is I have some diced onion, and so I'm going to add that to this, and I'm pretty sure I need to add minced garlic too. I always feel my way through this recipe, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, because then you're like, oh crud, I forgot to put one super important ingredient in there, and that's not always good, but we'll figure it out, guys. We will figure it out. Let me get some garlic. All right, I get the cheater garlic. I could make my own. I just haven't gotten there yet to want to be that ambitious with the garlic. I've done roasted garlic that I've put in a jar in my refrigerator, and I probably should have kept that in like some oil or something like that. All right, into the pot of Flavortown it goes. This is just one, like maybe teaspoon of minced garlic. Boom, right there. Now I'm gonna mix that up. This is something you definitely don't want to burn. You don't want to burn your garlic in here. You just want to sweat these onions down so they get translucent, and your rice is going to continue to cook. But you got to keep working it and push it around the pan, or otherwise something's going to burn and you're going to be sad faced. Let me go get some chicken broth, because that's what we need to water this down. See how convenient it is to have these things on hand. This is chicken broth that I got from just a moment like this whenever I did my Instant Pot, and I had leftover broth, and I canned the broth. Okay, so let me just show you here. Let's see, you can see the rice and that it is turning brown. The onions are translucent. Check, check, check. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in here. Hi, John. It's noon and my 12-year-old just woke up from bedtime. Okay, it's time to start. I'm going to be doing a lot of canning videos, I can tell, because I'm running out of things because I use them so much, which is great. All right, so I'm going to add this to here. Hear the sizzle. Okay, and I'm not going to add all of this, but I'm going to add all of it. So right now, it's kind of like you let the water kind of reduce the broth in with the rice and the onions. And while it's really soupy like this, this is the time to add tomato paste. Okay, so now, what the heck did I do with that? My camera. All right, I'm gonna just take a big heaping, it's like a tablespoon and a half, maybe 2 tablespoons of this tomato paste in here, okay? And I'm just gonna, we're gonna try to do what we can to dilute this. I got a little burnt onion in there. Like an onion skin or something. Let me just take him out. Just put him on the side of the counter. We'll wipe it up later. Okay, so you wanna make sure that you get all the chunks of the tomato paste out of here, because you don't wanna have that in your rice after you've already cooked it all. That's gross. So, do you make a sound like a musical tune whenever you knock whatever's off the side of your spoon? My mom always did that. Kind of sounds like Mario. Anyways, so enough of using this little spoon. I'm gonna get out the big dog here, and we're gonna work it, girl. Crush those little chunks of tomato paste. Work. You got it. You better work it, girl. Okay, I gotta motivate myself sometimes, y'all. So, I'm working on getting the chunks out. Working, get them doggies rolling. Right. Okay. It looks like it's gonna be just fine. There's like a few little chunks here and there, but it'll work itself out. Okay. So I can save this for later. I'm putting it in a Ziploc bag, stick it in the fridge if I know I'm gonna use tomato paste in another time, like within the next week, or if I'm not, I can put it in a Ziploc bag. I can make tomatoes, like sauce, pizza sauce out of tomato paste with lots of different things also. So anyways, I'm gonna just set this aside, and I'm gonna turn this fire down because it's on the biggest burner. Do you have a favorite burner on the stove? I do. I think everybody has a favorite burner. Okay, so I'm gonna do like medium heat. I'm gonna push my spaghetti sauce back. Actually, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna put it over here because he's off. And this is one of my larger burners. So, okay, you gotta make sure that you salt your rice. And all you need is salt, because you've got garlic and onion in there. You don't need pepper in there. You don't need any other spices. You just need salt. If you don't salt your rice now and you wait till after, it's not gonna taste right. You gotta have it in the salt. It cooks in the salt. You don't wanna salt the outside of your rice. So I'm just going, I measure by, so that was like 2 and then I think it's good. So, got that. Now it's like has a rich tomatoey look to it. That's what's gonna turn the rice orange. All right, one more step. Okay, so now I've got a mixture of frozen peas and carrots. Now it's gonna bring my temperature down. See how it's simmering right now? This is gonna make it not simmer because these are frozen. That's okay, but I don't want to sit there and chop carrots for eons, nor do I want to shell peas. So I'm making my life a little bit easier, and I'm buying something frozen in the bag. I mean, we are eating white rice right now, and this is like one of those feel-good comfort meals if you want to have homemade Mexican at home. So yeah. So I'm gonna put, let's just put the whole bag in there. Looks good. All right, so now I'm gonna stir up the peas and carrots in with the rice. And it looks like, you guys, that the peas and carrots are gonna like overpower the rice, and it's gonna be more peas and carrots than it is rice, but it's not, because the rice has not swollen to cook yet. So now I am going to pour the rest of this stock in here, and I'm gonna put the lid on it and set the timer for like 15 minutes. And you have to check on this because it's in a skillet and it has oil in it. You don't want the bottom to burn. Sometimes it will get like a brown crust on the bottom of it, which actually tastes amazing. But if you don't like that and you need to stir it, just don't stir it too much, because then you're gonna get gummy rice. All right, So here we go. All right, so it's at a, let's see, we'll bring it back up to a boil. Let me get my lid. Is this the right lid? Ha! On the first try, I got the right lid. Okay, so you want to bring it back up to a boil, and then I'm going to bring it down to a simmer on low, and then I'm going to set the timer with my trusty dandy assistant. Her name is Alexa. Can't say her name too loud, or she'll say, "May I help you?" All right, come on. Come on. Sometimes you have to center your skillet around the center of the burner. If you notice there's just a hot spot in one area and it's not evenly distributed, like the heat's not evenly distributed. You have to kind of like feel where the middle part of the burner is. So we're getting there. Because of these peas and carrots, they were frozen. So I'm turning my heat back up to high. Okay, I have a pretty good simmer and boil going on over here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down low to one of the lower settings. Put the lid on. Alexa, set the timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
All right, there you go. So I'm going to let this cook for 15 minutes. I have some chicken boiling, and now let's go ahead and cut and prep some vegetables or snacks. Okay? Okay, so the chicken just got finished in the Instapot, so I'm just letting it just kind of rest. Now I've got some zucchini that I've grown in the garden. This is a big guy here. I've got a few pieces of zucchini. I have to shred that I'm going to add to the freezer. I have lots of vegetables. I just went and bought some organic carrots and some celery, and then I have cherry tomatoes, and I'm going to cut all those up into bite-sized pieces and put them in this container so they're ready to just grab out of the refrigerator, because I'm really trying to get myself and my children to, time to check on the rice, eat healthier snacks. Alexa, timer off. Sorry y'all, that rice is looking good. So, okay, I'm gonna get out my, see, I'm trying to think of order of importance of what I'm gonna do here. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and get these carrots all nice and shredded. Let me get a bowl here. This is kind of like my composting bowl, and I'm going to rinse these carrots off a little bit before I start peeling them, just to be sure, because they're root vegetables, right? And they've probably been through a pretty long travel. These, I have grown my own carrots, and we ate them in the chicken pot pie, and they were amazing. They were the most flavorful carrots I've had in a really long time. Okay, so now I'm going to put these on my cutting board right now. I feel like you get more when you put in a little bit of effort yourself. You get more carrots that way. If I would have bought a bag of, say, baby carrots that were already peeled and everything, that's really like, I'm only getting half a bag of these carrots, because they've already chopped them, they've already like quartered them, whatever, peeled them, and I'm paying double the amount for the work. So I'm looking to save a little bit of money, and it doesn't really take that long. Plus, now I'm gonna have some vegetable shavings for my compost pile for my garden, which is great. And if you have chickens, chickens are also vegetarians. And I'm learning that. I don't have chickens of my own, but I know people who do. And their chickens absolutely love having carrots. My carrot tops from the ones that I did at the garden, I gave them to my friend who had rabbits, and she said that the rabbits just absolutely love the carrot tops. So I was helping her and she was doing some things too, and it was great. So I'm gonna have to leave here in just a second to go take my daughter to a swim party, and it's supposed to be raining off and on here all day today. So I'm hoping that the rain doesn't come until after she's done with the party. Alexa, timer off. I think our rice is probably done. So I'm gonna go check on that, on our Mexican rice. Would you look at that? Look at this Mexican rice, y'all. I do believe it is done. I probably could have added a little bit more tomato paste in it. It's not really gummy. It'll separate a little bit more later, but I got a little bit of the browning part, and as it rests, the rice is going to continue to cook. But look at that. That is traditional, homemade Mexican rice like you get in the restaurant. And I'm going to just put the lid back on. The fire's off. I'm going to allow it to rest here in the pot. And then I'll be ready to bag it up for the freezer for when we have Mexican food one night. Okay, so now that I have the chicken done, the rice is done. Oh, I can check that off my list. I can check that off my list. Yay! Mexican rice done. Like my flamingo pen here. I didn't realize that pen was back there. All right, back to the carrots. Okay, go back to peeling these things. I'm so excited that rice turned out so well. My kids also really love that rice, and it's another way to sneak in vegetables that they wouldn't normally eat. If I put peas and carrots by themselves on a plate, they'd be like, ew, gross. No, I'm not doing that. But if you put it in something else, it's like sneaky good, right? So, just gonna keep peeling these. Okay, so now I've got my container right here. I'm just gonna, I guess I'll put my composting bowl close by because I gotta watch the clock here so Victoria can go on her trip, on her little thing. I'm just gonna cut the heads off of these, and then I just want to quarter these because then they become like fun little handheld dipping type. And then if it's too skinny, just cut it in half. But it's really great for like, if you have people over and you need a quick little crudité made, like a little appetizer veggie tray, you can just pull those out and get some ranch dip or make any kind of dip you want, or you don't have to have any if you don't want to. But I want to encourage healthier eating. We have been eating so much junk food on the go with my travels back home to Louisiana from Florida to set up share sheds, and just the end of the school year, we're just busy, and we need to put healthier stuff in our bodies. I mean, I'm like only finding that my son is like going scrounging in the pantry, and he's gonna be tall. And if you don't give your kids the right tools, like putting this in front of them and saying like, here, I fix this for you, eat it, then it's basically not gonna happen. My daughter's probably a little bit more motivated to fix stuff on her own, especially if I tell her to. Like, she said to me, Mom, can you please go and get stuff for me to make a parfait at the grocery store? So I bought her some Greek yogurt and some fresh strawberries, and we had some honey, and she likes to cook, so she's kind of doing her own granola and stuff, and so she was excited about that. So that motivated her to want to eat something a little bit healthier. And as soon as I get these carrots done, I'm gonna have to dash out the door. And those are skinny, so they can go in there. This bucket is filling up. I'm gonna probably have to have multiple buckets, I think. But that's okay. Stock the refrigerator full of good stuff. Another video I'm gonna have to make is whenever I clean out my refrigerator, because you know how your refrigerator gets kind of gross after a while if you don't wipe out the shelves and everything. It's another thing. It's like I feel like, oh, I cut myself. Oh. Okay, I have just a few minutes before I have to go back and pick up kids again and then take more kids to the orthodontist. Hello, mom life. So while I'm doing that, I did finish chopping up my carrots and celery, and I had a few pieces here and there while I was doing that. I'm gonna dice up this romaine lettuce, and I'm just gonna get it all done because I want to encourage myself and my family to eat more salad this week. So I feel like if it's there, we'll eat it. If it's not there, we won't eat it. I get some brown parts here. Just throw those in the pot here. This one looks pretty bruised. Okay, that looks fine. This looks fine. We're gonna rinse it all, okay? Because you definitely want to make sure that you're washing off your produce before you eat it. I don't really use like a vegetable rinse. Some people do that. I just don't. I mean, I guess it depends on what it is. If it's something that really looks kind of icky and needs some help, I'll use my thieves cleaner that I have over there. It's all made out of essential oils, and that's been really good because I know it's safe and I know exactly what's going in it. It's not any other like chemicals or anything like that. It's strict oils. Okay, so I get a good chop on that. Let me just show you how I chop my lettuce here. So I'll take the whole thing of romaine and I'll come down here long ways like this. I want to quarter it. So I'll quarter it again. And then I start with the back end, really. You can start back end or front end, doesn't really matter. Make sure I don't cut myself again. I did put a Band-Aid on. It's always unfortunate when you get a really sharp knife and then you cut yourself. No good, no good. Okay, I got one more head of lettuce to go. And then I like little bite-sized pieces. Nobody likes to shove a humongous piece of lettuce in their mouth, especially if you're trying to be ladylike. And then you have this big piece of lettuce hanging out of your mouth with dressing and whatever else. That's never fun. Yep, I'm making a mess here. That's pretty normal for me to make a mess. Okay. So we got this going on over here. And then I have these peppers here that I'm going to cut these open because a new snack a friend of mine told me about not that long ago, and these are all pre-washed, is cream cheese with nothing but the bagel, or everything but the bagel seasoning sprinkled on top. Now if I can only find the seasoning, hold on. Okay, I have this seasoning right here. Everything seasoning for bagels and more. I got this at Publix, I believe. Okay, so look at all these great veggies I have over here that, making a mess. Okay, so I'll rinse off my knife. I don't really want lettuce in my peppers. Okay, so we're gonna cut the tops off of these peppers here. Guess I need my bowl back. And just chop the tops. Choppy choppy. And I made these for an appetizer we had a crawfish boil and invited our neighbors over, and it was a big hit. And you do not have to be a chef to put this together. This is so easy. But again, I'm promoting healthy snacking this week. And so I'm gonna put some more effort. If you don't have time to make this stuff, that's okay. It's actually really easy for kids to be able to help with. Just, oops, trying to get the seed part off here. If you have a little bit of seed, it's not a big deal. So I want to turn it on its side because they're kind of like squished looking. And you want to have like a flat open space here. And then I'll just pull out the little pieces of pepper. They're not, oops, they're not spicy peppers at all. But I don't want to eat a bunch of seeds, and I don't think anybody else eating them wants to eat a bunch of seeds either. So I'm gonna put this in here and keep chopping. Okay, let me get a Tupperware container down here where I can put these in. So you can pick these up. These are for meal prepping. I get these at Target. And they're great because you can microwave with them if you want to. Not that we're gonna be microwaving with these for this project, but it's a really good, they're easy to stack. So it comes with like a little pamphlet in here, and you may have picked some of these up with like at a ready-made meal store or whatever, you know. They're just really great to have. And so you can get a whole box of, I think 10 for $10 at Target. So, the next step is you want a block of cream cheese, and I'm gonna open this up here. And I'm just gonna grab some and smear this onto my pepper right here. And get a few going here. I mean, who can't smear some cream cheese on anything. We all thought it was for bagels. It's not. And this is a low carb snack too, because you're not putting it on a bagel, but you've got the bagel seasoning and you've got your pepper, a crunchy pepper that adds to more flavor and just a crunch, which is also good. Sometimes you just want a big pile of cheese. This is also really good if you're having like a shower at your house, like a baby shower, or you're having a bunch of people over and you need something like cheap and easy to feed a bunch of people. You can make these ahead of time. Put a kid in charge of it. I'm a big promoter of getting our kids to do some of this work for us. They should be, right? Wipe it off. All right, let's see. I never know what side to open. All right, so we got some everything but the bagel seasoning. I'm just gonna sprinkle it on here. I'm adding some to the floor as well, so I'll probably just vacuum afterwards. It's always just a good idea to vacuum. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put these in this container, and it's gonna be ready for us to enjoy as a healthy snack. I'm so excited to have these completed for us. Okay, looks like we're gonna have a double row. That's all right. I feel like the seasoning acts as like a barrier so that the cheese doesn't all stick together. So I have some more that I have to put together, but check that out. So good. I'm excited. I'm doing good. All right, so I'm gonna finish these, and then we're gonna move on to shredding our zucchini and cheese, and so we can get that bagged and put in the freezer. And then by that time, it'll be time for me to go and pick up a kid. Okay, so I only have a few minutes before I have to go back into Caroline again. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these zucchini that I grew to get them shredded up. Oh no, look at this one. Caterpillar got it. All right, that's going in the compost bucket. Didn't know that they swelled like, I'm still like learning all about gardening. Okay, so, well, I hope that I have some decent zucchini. This one looks like a decent one. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in here. And oh, when things don't work out the way you want them to. Okay, maybe put these sideways. All right, let's see if this, there we go. All right. Okay, pop this back on top. Some more here. Okay. Okay. I just want to get this really good and shredded so that I can use it for things like zucchini bread, or put it in a, I don't know, some sort of a casserole. So we're getting the vegetables that we need. And I have a tiny guy here. It's like, well, I'll just throw him in the pot too. Nothing should be. And I'll have another video later where I actually will make like some zucchini bread or something like that and show you how I do that. All right, so take this out, homegrown zucchini, and we're gonna dump it so it doesn't get sweet. I'm gonna dump it in this gallon Ziploc bag here. because most times we don't really know what to do with zucchini. You don't want to really freeze your zucchini because it's like a sponge. All that water it retains as it's freezing that it has in the inside is all going to sweat out, and you're going to be left with this like limp vegetable. So it's really better, I've found, through watching other YouTubers to just shred it and be able to use it in other dishes, and that's totally okay too. You can do a breakfast casserole with this. And it can also be low carb. You can substitute the zucchini from like potatoes and stuff if you want. So, all right, I got some zucchini that's shredded here. It's time, with 1 minute to spare, to go do pickup. But look at everything that we made. Shredded zucchini. We got these cheese stuffed peppers with the bagel seasoning. We've got chopped up celery. We have some sliced carrots for snacking. We've got some diced lettuce here, and then I've got a really good hefty pile of compost vegetables for my compost bin with my neighbor. So I'm gonna go put that in the compost bin, go pick up a kid, and then I'll be back to start the chicken and dumplings and make freezer meals out of those and knock off some of the rest of the things that we have on our list. And we're almost done, a whole day's worth of work so that we can have meals for an entire month. That's awesome. I'll be back. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our video. Stay tuned for part 2 of this awesome segment as we finish up the rest of our freezer meals and snacks for the kids. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe and leave some comments so we can hear your feedback. Have an awesome and blessed day.